Abusia inchi on san samo akwa basonko so emfa mre channel so hada so ye be media GH. Abusia for ade a His Excellency John Dramani Mahama atumi ahia CSOs na abusia o shia CSOs ni na efa ye illegal mining na ye galamsey ni ekoso owo eye oman we mu odin sembi editu dwa na abusia okasa wiye no na eyade a AG Attorney General abusia maso beka na ensem na ensem odi atu dwa no dru baabi obo chema wontumi din a na chese ni wuti ensem ni ya na chese chema wontumi de eyade a ne docket are ready for ne illegal mining no ne docket are ready a chese chema wontumi ebetumi akopie mu court from any moment from now we dey ma mekasa wa mekasa tetepese ekọ nkokwoti ensemo a eji edi atudwa efa chema wontumi na sewie na se wa dwucha bole na ya kire ya adwen hada so be media GH se enane de connect channel this one eni de no go kwan se be so meje me wa hwe videos tv ya body a subscribe wa like na wa bo asha wo for pensem ne bi atie no anya bi atie yenti ensemo a eji edi tudwa abra one His Excellency John Dramani Mahama omo ehia CSOs no ensemo a odi atudwa efa chema wontumi ho a ni na enam illegal mining ho emra sisi how does be media GH let us
is to review the Minerals and Mining Act, and I have advised the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources that the current state of the law is such that licenses and leases can be granted over the whole territory of the Republic of Ghana. That includes forests, that includes the territorial waters and the exclusive economic zone. So the first thing to do is for us to streamline the Minerals and Mining Act. And for instance, in respect of mining in forest reserves, we will put a provision in the statute, in the bill, when enacted, that will prohibit mining in forest reserves completely. And I have told the minister that one of the things we can do is to identify all the forest reserves and put them in a schedule attached to the bill, and make it categorically clear that no license for mining activity or lease for the conduct of mining can be granted in respect of all the forest reserve attached to the statute. Now that means that at any point in time that the law, the position has to change, they have to go back to Parliament and then review the law, which makes it politically more difficult. Also, we have prepared an instrument that is LI 2505 in my office, and that will be laid in Parliament on the 14th. The Minister and I have agreed that on the 14th of October, when Parliament resumes, we'll lay that instrument to revoke the famous LI 2462, which is the over the whole territory of the Republic of Ghana. That includes forests, that includes the territorial waters and the exclusive economic zone. So the first thing to do is for us to streamline the Minerals and Mining Act. And for instance, in respect of mining in forest reserves, we will put a provision in the statute, in the bill, when enacted, that will prohibit mining in forest reserves completely. And I have told the minister that one of the things we can do is to identify all the forest reserves and put them in a schedule attached to the bill, and make it categorically clear that no license for mining activity or lease for the conduct of mining can be granted in respect of all the forest reserve attached to the statute. Now that means that at any point in time that the law, the position has to change, they have to go back to Parliament and then review the law, which makes it politically more difficult. Also, we have prepared an instrument that is LI 2505 in my office, and that will be laid in Parliament on the 14th. The Minister and I have agreed that on the 14th of October, when Parliament resumes, we'll lay that instrument to revoke the famous LI 2462, which is the 21 days. It matures, and from that time onwards, we will not have LI 2462. Now, in terms of prosecutions, the statistics that were given included 1,400 arrests. 1,400 arrests. Now, the biggest problem we've had with the arrests is the 48 hours rule. Constitutional principle that we must bring them before the courts within 48 hours. Most of the judges have been granting them bail. So I remember the point that was made by Colonel Boa. When 9 people in Kumasi, he called and I told him that immediately place them before the court and then ask for them to be detained so that we do our investigation. When they appeared before the court, Your Excellency, they were granted bail. Okay? Then they went back. He was very good in monitoring them. They went back into the forest. So I told him that even despite the fact that they've been granted bail, because they have gone back into the forest, they've committed a new offense. I asked him to arrest them, but to bring them to Accra, instead of placing them before a court in Kumasi. And I'm dealing with them now. They are in detention. We will not release them. We will make sure that even if the High Court says we should grant them bail, we'll go to Court of Appeal and go to the Supreme Court to ensure that we hold them until the dockets are prepared and then we send them to court. Currently, we have initiated prosecutions in 65 dockets. And Mr. President, there's a difference. When we say 65 dockets, it is not 65 individual persons who are being prosecuted. Some of them are more than 10. In fact, there is one case in the Western North. There are 28 minors that are involved in that prosecution. So the 65 dockets, by my calculation, contains about 600 persons that are illegal minors that are being prosecuted. And I'm happy to announce that in 2002, the police conducted very diligent investigations in respect of Akonta mining. But the docket was hidden until we came to power. In fact, when we came to power and I started the investigation with the the Lands and Natural Resources Minister and the Forestry Commission, we were finding it difficult to get information. Subsequently, the police themselves owned up and presented the docket to my office 2 months ago. So as we speak, the charges against Chairman Wontumi, Akonta Mining, and 5 others have been signed as I speak. Currently, we are waiting for him to be read his right to remain silent, etc. Before we've asked that he should be brought from, Kumasi. His lawyers asked that he should be brought on Tuesday, but I'm insisting that he should be here on Monday. If he doesn't come on Monday, I'm going to order so that he'll be brought to Accra. His rights will be read to him, and then we can start the prosecution. We have also put in place certain measures to ensure that the prosecution goes faster than normal. We have approached the Chief Justice, who has agreed to assign specialized courts for the prosecution of illegal mining cases. And I have laid before Cabinet, on Tuesday, Cabinet will meet and approve the Public Tribunals Bill, which will go to Parliament on a certificate of agency. And if by December the tribunals are in place, most of the circuit tribunals will be given exclusive jurisdiction to deal with mining cases. And we will appoint the chairman and panel members of the tribunals, give them timelines beyond which they should not carry a case. So, for instance, we will insist that every mining case should end within 6 months. If there are reasons for you to appeal, that is fine. But the tribunal must deliver its verdict within 6 months. Currently, we don't have those statutory timelines in CI 47, that is the High Court Civil Procedure Rules. So I want Parliament to help me to put those timelines in the tribunal's bill so that the tribunals will do the cases very fast. So, Mr. President, this is where we are in terms of the legal steps. And as I said, law enforcement, regulatory reform is at the heart of what we are doing. And we will not spare any person, in terms of the accountability for their destruction of the environment. Thank you very much.
Very much. Lost their life. Can we have a minute of silence, please? May the life of our departed colleagues and may their souls rest in perfect peace. Amen. We have, thanks to the President, we established a responsible small-scale mining program. So far, we've identified a lot of areas, working with large-scale mining companies as a team to make sure we transfer their best practices to these communities, create a win-win partnerships for them. A lot of mining companies are now on board. We've begun that process, and what we are doing is to make sure that everybody who wants to engage in mining, we've created a legal pathway for them. We have also created the audit that we are talking about, all those areas that are good, that are not going to destroy water bodies, and our forests will be allocated to the responsible corporate mining program to make sure that we train people, we give them all the tools they need so that they can mine responsibly and sustainably. And so the fight against illegal mining, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, anytime you talk about where we have been, think about the depth where we started. Within 9 months, these are the steps we've taken. But as I said, it is not a sprint, it's a marathon. What gives me hope and what we are looking at is that we believe that by next year, we'll review completely our laws and our policies. We believe that we are going to continue this fight and make sure that we start seeing marked improvement, not only in our forests, but our water bodies. Our reclamation program is very expensive. I take the opportunity to call on all Ghanaians, especially corporate Ghana, to come to support in this effort. Think about 7,500 football fields in the forest that we have to reclaim. Billions of Ghana cedis. And so we will continue this fight. We will continue with the COMSDEP program and all the other alternatives to empower our young people to move away. We are working closely to make sure we improve our turbidity levels, as has been said. But the data is very clear. We are on a forward march. Are we where we want to be? No. Have we been making progress? Yes. I'm confident we are on the right path. And I believe, as the President has said, Ghanaians will be at the forefront of this mining industry, and we'll do it responsibly, making sure that our water bodies are 10 blue. And what gives me confidence is the political will and the leadership that His Excellency John Mahama is providing. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. So, government has presented its offerings in the fight against illegal mining. President Mahama would now like to hear from members of civil society organizations present, as well as the clergy. So the floor will be opened. If you have any comments, questions to give, please put up your hand.
Carrier, Mankraso, Western Takwa, Daboase. So these three regions really are the main areas that has been impacted. I've already talked about the classification. If you had done it in color form, you have seen that the top one is no go. The second one, which is like gold, is an area that is close to the first one. 18 is medium, you can manage, so they go in, they clear them out, they come back. And then the fifth one is the green zone, where basically we can control. This is what we came to meet. This is the deepest we were sunk. And so I've talked about the red zone, and these were the 9 no-go areas. Chemra, Afao Hills, Tano Anua, Offin Shelter Belt, Anua East. Just 2 weeks ago, if you saw that the National Anti-Illegal Mining had gone back to the shelter belt, it meant that the same talks are trying to take it back from us. We were immediate, we were swift, we were brutal. This is the extent of focus. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Apamprama Forest Reserve in the Ashanti region. What you are looking at is not a city. It's an area view of our forest region, how damaged it is. Let's move from the forest to the water bodies. It even gets worse. We have 3 water systems in Ghana: the Volta, Southwestern, and the coastal basins. The Southwestern is the most impacted, especially rivers like Ankobra, Prata, and Onabia. And it gets worse. Constant importation of champagne machines, digging deep and polluting the water with dangerous chemicals has been the story. And the implications were serious. The turbidity levels that were supposed to be 0 to 500 had moved from 5,000 to 12,000. Impossible for water companies to treat water. And so if you hear the stories of Ghana Water Company shutting down, it started in Takwa. And so when you are in Winneba, you think Takwa was too far. Well, you got into Takwa, he's got into the eastern region, and it's probably coming to you. The impact didn't stop there. The incidence of renal diseases, bird defects, impact on agriculture and food production and our cocoa production. It's all well known. And I think these are the impact, and it's very, very clear. And yet, ladies and gentlemen, law enforcement was weak.